I have been reading some of the best light novels out there. Let's have a look at them, shall we? Hello and welcome back to the Light Novel channel. I have been reading light novels. Well, if I'm honest, I've been continuing a lot of great light novels, but it's that time of the month where I go over what I've read and ask you guys what you have been reading and share with you some of the best that I have been reading. First up, let's look at a favourite. First up is Cheeto is in the Ramen Ball. Now, if I'm perfectly honest, I'm not a huge fan of a lot of these slice of life titles. I don't know what it is about them. They just don't hit for me. I'm well far removed from the age range where this was going to be appealing. But Cheeto is different. The main character is popular. Genuinely popular. He is a genuine nice person. He helps his friends. He's got a good social life. The girls do find him attractive. But one of the things is that he kind of wants to live life as a normal guy. One of the things he tends to find is that nearly every single girl who is in his external circle asks him out and he has to reject them simply because, well, he just doesn't have the interest. I think it's one of the ways that we need to see it. He just doesn't have the interest at the moment. And he's enjoying living life, and each volume focuses on a different thing. Now, there is a little bit of a harem going on, but he doesn't go out with all of these girls. There's just a lot of girls that might be the one that he might eventually go out with. And volume 6 continues with that. Now, we've had volumes in the past where it focuses on bullying, it focuses on stalking, it focuses on sports. Now, volume 6 continues on from volume 5, in which we have a focus on some of these girls. That's right, we actually have a focus on the girls who fall in love with Cheeto, our main character, and it's nice to have that POV of, you know, the ones in the girls' circle having their emotions, how they are very rapidly realising that one of the girls might be the one for Cheeto, and how that's going to split the entire dynamic. Now, we do have at the end of volume 5 a big reckoning which moves into volume 6, in which we have Cheeto examining his life, and we have a lot of focus on some of the other girls and some of the other characters and their lives because of this big event that's happened. I don't want to kind of spoil it because obviously it is a big kind of thing, and it's really good for it. Now, if I'm absolutely honest, this is an absolutely chunky boy. This is nearly 360, it might have even been 370 pages. That continues on directly from volume 5. So if you want to get into this, volume 5 and volume 6 is pretty much a two-parter. It does mention at the back that this is about halfway through Cheeto. It looks, I think volume 6.5 just came out by Yen Press as well, so yeah, we've got a big thing. Now, if I'm honest, Cheeto is a bit of a slow burn. Every single volume I've read, it's taken me a lot of time to get into. I don't know what it is, I don't know why it is, but it's one of those ones where if someone says that they read the first 100 pages, I can be pretty honest and go, yeah, you didn't really like it, did you? And I'm like, no. I mean, you know what? Can't fault that. But if I'm perfectly honest, keep with this. This is easily one of the best slice of life titles out there. There's not really much competition for amazing slice of life high school titles, in my opinion, but this is easily one of the best ones. Bunny Girl Senpai is the other one. Next up, we continue our trek into Spice and Wolf with Spice and Wolf Volume 10. Now, I'm just going to give a brief synopsis of Spice and Wolf because this is more likely going to appeal to people who've never read Spice and Wolf somehow. It's getting an anime, or it's got an anime. It's, I think the second core of the anime, which is delving into new territory, is ongoing right now. And yes, Spice and Wolf is easily one of the light novel greats. Easily. Not even, I'm not even saying it's not even a competition. Yeah, it does have competition with like stuff like Ascendance of a Bookworm and stuff like that, but it is easily one of the best ones out there, believe me. A young merchant discovers a wolf girl who claims that she is the wise wolf. They become firm friends and soon go on a journey to find this wolf girl god's hometown. And this is picking up the clues that will take her there to just try and discover if this hometown, this home village is still alive, if it's still active, or if it has been lost to history. Our main girl, Hollow, is easily one of the best girls in light novel history. And yeah, it's one of those ones where it's kind of like, it's been going on for that long, and I'm going to be honest, I am starting to really rapidly realise that there is a very distinction between light novels that kind of like are a little bit older and like modern day light novels, in that it's like these Full Metal Panic, Toradora, a lot of the old classics are still punching well above a lot of these new classics, which quite surprises me. But yeah, Spice and Wolf is an absolute must read. Really it is. If you like light novels, it absolutely needs to be on your list of something to check out. If you wanted a romance with economics and a medieval fantasy vibe, this one is for you. It's well crafted, it's well thought out. I'm going to be honest, it's a little bit intimidating as well, because it's one of those ones where it's been going on for so long. It kind of stopped, but then it started up again. And then there's another series called Wolf and Parchment, which is also ongoing. So yeah, I'm going to try and catch up. I've got volume 11, I've got volume 12 and 13. I think 14 is the next one I need to buy. But maybe once I start reading them again, I will read and give you an update. My plan was to try and catch up by the end of this year. At this point, I'm kind of happy with one per month. But don't delay it. Spice and Wolf needs to be on your list. Have you read it? What do you think? Must read? Classic? Let me know. Next up is one that I really struggle to understand on how I feel with it. Kept Man and the Princess Knight. Now, this is one that a lot of people have hyped up over the last few months. And if I'm honest, I read volume 1 and I quite liked it. Now, volume 1 was sent to me by Yen Press as a review copy, but I did go out of my way and buy volume 2 just because I just couldn't form an opinion on it. And if I'm perfectly honest, I still struggle. Now, this is a kind of, I wouldn't say generic fantasy, this is kind of like a medieval world in which the main Princess Knight is trying to clear the dungeon. However, staying at home is the kept man. The kept man who basically attends to every one of her needs. Matthew. And he has a secret that I struggled to talk about in the first volume, but if I'm honest, I will spoil you guys. He was cursed. He was originally overpowered, part of a very powerful guild that went into the dungeon and got cursed by the sun god. So whenever he isn't in the sun, he is very weak. So he can't exactly go into the dungeon and clear it for the Princess Knight or what have you. So because he's got this handicap, he has to think off his head. And there are a lot of people that want to stop the Princess Knight. There are a lot of people who want to stop him. They don't like him. And he's got to survive in this world. It's interesting. Now, volume 2 is a little bit more slice of life. We've got a few new characters, including the Bishi General, which I thought was actually quite interesting because the Bishi General already has a wife. And I was just like, wow, a Bishi that has a wife? I don't think I've ever seen that in a series before. But yeah, there's a lot of dark mysteries going on. There's a lot of things that are turning their attention to Matthew and his crimes. He's not exactly the nicest person. He's done a lot of horrible things to survive. He's done a lot of horrible things to keep the Princess Knight alive. And things are starting to turn on him, and things are starting to get a little bit scary for him. I like that aspect. I like that this took away. Volume 1 was very action centric. Volume 2 does have a lot of action, but not as much. But it's also one that I'm kind of starting to wonder, how far is this going to go? I can see myself reading maybe up to volume 4 or 5, but if it doesn't really advance the plot much, which this one kind of introduced new things, but yeah, I don't really kind of feel like much advanced, but that might just be me. If nothing's really advancing by volume 4 or volume 5, I might drop it if I'm honest, because it's one that I liked, didn't love as much as other people do, but didn't hate it. It was just kind of like, I was like, when I read it, I enjoyed it, but when I kind of look back, I was kind of like, oh, I don't really remember what I loved about this. But it's well written. It's one of the better written light novels I've read. It's interesting. It's a unique premise, which is quite frankly refreshing. But I think that a lot of people are going to be put off by the main character and his actions and the kind of world that he's in. And if I'm honest, yeah. Next up, we're going to talk about the God of Nishi Yuigahama Station. I have to read that title because I can never pronounce it right. I hope I did. So this is one I covered in a full-on video, and if I'm honest, nobody was really that interested, which is a huge shame because this is easily one of the best things I've read, and I've read a lot of novels this month. So this is about a train accident. A train accident that kills, well, a bunch of people. But it also focuses on the lives. And the question is, if you could see someone you've lost one more time, what would you tell them? So this is a number of stories about people. People who fall in love or what have you, and they lose a loved one. For example, a young couple that are going to get married. A son who loses his father. A child who loses their first crush. And, of course, the wife who loses the conductor who is initially blamed for the accident. Now, on every night, a mysterious ghost train appears, and these people are drawn to it. And the question is, if you could enter this ghost train and speak to these people, what would you tell them? What would you ask them? And this is easily one of the best things I've read. Now, I talked about slice of life. A lot of slice of life light novels, when it comes down to it, is high school hijinks, and this has some high school stuff, but this is also treating a more mature thing. A lot of the protagonists are adults, and it's just beautiful. It is easily one of the most beautiful titles I have ever read, and it absolutely should be on your to read list. If you like titles such as 3 Days of Happiness, you will really enjoy this one because it is very much in the same vein as that one. I really am appreciating Yen Press's hardback releases because they are really focusing on some fantastic titles. This one is no exception. I did go into a little bit more depth on this one, so if you are like slightly interested, go check that out on the channel. I did cover this in more depth, but this is a must read for just about everybody who wants a good read. Now, another one that Yen Press sent me, which is also in hardback, so immediately I'm going to say a good quality read, was Once Upon a Witch's Death. Now, this is another one that I did do a full coverage on the channel, so if you have some interest, go check it out because this one is good. So this is about a young witch who one day is told by her mentor she is going to die in 1 year unless she acquires so many tears. So this is basically a curse title. So a curse title, I'll say that as if it's curses. No, the main character is cursed, she's gonna die, but it's a little bit slice of lifey, in that she's gonna have to try and help people to get these tears of joy to try and save her own life. And yeah, this is another one. There's a lot of very beautiful stories in here. There's a lot of really heartwarming stories. Doesn't quite hit as much as the previous one we just talked about, but yeah, it is one that I would really recommend you guys check out if you get a chance. The main character is really sweet, and it is just one of those series that you're going to read with a little smile on your face. I did cover this one a little bit more depth. It's got some very interesting translations because this is in England and they translate it into American English rather than English. So it's definitely a few things that kind of threw me for a little bit. But yeah, I really recommend this one. I like I said, this month I've just read nothing but bangers. So if you want to try something new, try this, try the previous one. They're both going to be absolutely fantastic. Now, this is an interesting one as well because it doesn't really kind of say there's a volume 2, but I think there is. I couldn't really find out at time of recording that if there was a second volume due to come out, But yeah, it's well worth checking out. I think there's an anime movie or an anime or a movie or something coming out, so yeah, that's one that you do want to keep an eye out on. But yeah, a very good read. I very much enjoyed it. Check it out. So to wrap things up, a very, very good month for light novels for me. I just feel like I've read nothing but bangers. Moving forwards, Yen Press have sent me another batch of titles to review, so I will be picking some of them up while I'm also covering some new things. I'm going to try and get another like Spice and Wolf. There's a few new releases from Seven Seas that I've kind of got my eye on. And I picked up the volume 1 of Apothecary Diaries in physical form, so I'm going to try and reread that while I can. What have you guys been reading? Let me know in the comments, and if you want a jumping off point, go check out this video up here. Some fantastic light novels that are getting an anime adaptation very soon. So yeah, don't miss them.